Gentlemen, welcome back. In this video today, for this week, I'm going to talk through how I kicked the flu in 48 hours. I have been down and out, not down and out, but down with a cold this week. It's going around. It's pretty nasty. Usually, even when I get ill, I don't feel that ill. I don't have to take time off from training. I just have to dial back intensity a little bit. And even then, I don't usually do that. I just push through like an idiot. But anyway, this one actually caught me pretty good. For 2 days, I was not training at all. I was just doing the work that I needed to do and then getting into bed, basically, and recovering. And even now, I'm still kind of getting through it. I'm kind of in that stage where I feel better now. I can train. Training intensity is back to pretty much 100%. But still got that phlegm, still sneezing, still coughing, still getting rid of it, expunging all of it out of my body. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk through my protocols because obviously this is a pain point for everybody at any time that you get ill. Nobody wants to be ill. It feels horrible. It stops you from doing the work you need to do, stops you from training. You can't think straight. You're just operating nowhere near your peak. So when it comes to health and performance, avoiding illness and then getting back to full health and fitness when you are faced with an illness is obviously something that everybody wants to know. So here is my protocol, how I kicked the flu in 48 hours. Let's get into it. So first of all, first sign of symptoms. Saturday evening, afternoon, Saturday night was when I first started noticing that I was coming down with something. What did I do? You have to, at this stage, sympathetic nervous system max. What does that mean? You need to put your body into that state of fight or flight. You actually need to upregulate your body, upregulate the stress response in your body. This is counterintuitive to a lot of people because they think as soon as you start feeling ill, you need to start resting, recovering, down regulating, so your body has all the energy it needs to in order to recover. However, at the first sign of symptoms, we need to start kickstarting that immunitory response. We need to upregulate all of the systems, all of the processes in our body that are saying, or whose job is to fight the pathogens that are coming into our body. So when we first start noticing the symptoms, that's when our body has already started to clock on. It's already started to upregulate these processes, and we just want to jack those up as high as possible. In this circumstance, we want high cortisol. We want adrenaline. We want increase in body temperature. These are all things that people think of as not being conducive to recovery, and they're not. But we're not in a state of recovery at the moment. We're in a state of fight. Our body's under attack from this virus, pathogen, whatever it is, and we need to make sure we're in the highest state of energy possible to fight that virus. So this is all about deploying energy. Cortisol, the master energy deployment hormone. How are we going to upregulate things like cortisol? How are we going to operate that sympathetic nervous system? We're going to do things like Wim Hof breathing, hyperventilating. So when you want to relax, you focus on the exhale. When you want to increase alertness, upregulate the nervous system, we're focusing on the inhale. Big inhales, big exhales as well, of course, but really focusing on big rates of breath. Taking in, breathing out large volumes of air, that hyperventilating style of breath work. And something like Wim Hof is perfect for this. There's a 10-minute free YouTube video, a guided one. You just simply type in Wim Hof breathing. You can follow that along. It takes less than 10 minutes, and that's going to do a great job of skyrocketing cortisol, upregulating the nervous system to help kickstart, to really help jack up that immunitory response. We also want to increase body temperature. There's a few ways we can do this. The main thing is, and it's really important to emphasize here, keep warm. As soon as you feel yourself getting ill, your body needs to heat up. It needs to create that fever response to kill the virus. You don't want to make that an uphill battle at all. And you feel that as soon as you're getting ill, you want to be nice, warm and cozy. Trust your intuition, trust your instincts. Don't start doing a load of cold plunge. Yes, that would increase cortisol, upregulate the sympathetic nervous system and the rest of it, but we don't want to be making ourselves cold. We want to keep ourselves warm. And really, we want to heat up the body in potent ways. So if you can get into a hot bath, get into a sauna, stay in there for a good amount of time. So your body doesn't just feel hot, it is actually increasing in heat. You've artificially created that fever response by getting into a sauna or bath. And as well, the other thing that a lot of people miss is eat. You really need to make sure you're eating. Number one, this is going to increase body temperature. But number two, and we're going to go into this when we talk about the next phase of the protocol. You do not want to be in a state of scarcity. You do not want your body to feel as though it has to conserve resources in this scenario. It wants to be able to expend resources into fighting this virus, into recovering from it. So you need to make sure you're eating enough. It's going to provide your body with the energy, the fuel it needs to combat the illness that you are faced with. So that's what I'm doing at the first sign of symptoms. I was working at the time, so I didn't have plans to do some Wim Hof breathing, but I did ensure that I ate as much as I could. I kept nice and warm, and I had a hot bath when I got back once I'd finished my work for the day. The next morning, let's go into this now. It's all about nutrient maxing. So I've already said you need to eat, and this is the thing. When you're feeling ill, what do you want to eat? You want to eat a load of garbage junk food, a load of starchy, oily, really high sugar foods. It's just what feels good. It feels like that's what your body craves in this scenario. Well, yes, it is craving big starch. It needs a load of carbohydrates. It is craving high sugar. It is craving those oily foods as well. Give it all that saturated fat, but give it the good stuff. Make a big fried breakfast, all the eggs, sausages, bacon, high salts. You want all the minerals, all the electrolytes, all the sugar that your body craves. Give it the good stuff. Don't go to Mackey's and go through the drive-through. Cook something up. I know it's difficult to be bothered to cook things when you're feeling ill, when you're feeling under the weather. You want to make things as easy as possible, but invest in that. It's all about nutrient maxing. So to go into some specifics here, in particular, at breakfast, we want high vitamin C. Now, obviously, eat a load of blueberries and the rest of it. But I always say to people, you need to make sure you've got some camu on hand for events such as these. I mean, I'm using camu every single day when I take my collagen anyway to ensure that I'm getting vitamin C with my collagen. But you should just have some on hand for when you get ill, because you don't want to be taking that artificial vitamin C, that ascorbic acid. It's digested, it's broken down in the body completely differently to whole food vitamin C, and it's really difficult to get like a gram, 2 grams, and because that's the kind of high doses we're talking about of vitamin C in your diet just from eating fruit. You'd have to eat so much fruit. So get yourself some organic whole food camu. I cannot stress enough how important this is, and have it on hand for circumstances such as these. So for my breakfast, I have like Greek yogurt. I have some raw honey, which is a great tool as well, especially when you're ill. With a load of blueberries, I have like 300 grams of blueberries, but I still had a massive teaspoon in some hot water of camu as well. Not too hot because you actually don't want to destroy the vitamin C. And then high zinc throughout the day. So high vitamin C at breakfast, that's the emphasis there. And then high zinc throughout the rest of the day. So obviously, have a big steak, have loads of potatoes with it, because your body's going to be craving that starchy carb. It's going to be craving the butter that you're going to slather all over those potatoes. Give it the good stuff. Cannot emphasize that enough. Have your steak. I mean, anything that's high zinc. If you've got oysters, brilliant. Obviously, not everyone's necessarily got oysters on hand. But yeah, make sure you're getting high doses of zinc throughout the day. They're really kind of our two key nutrients, our two vitamins and minerals I want us to focus on, other than, of course, vitamin D. Look, if you're in a sunny place right now, more power to you. That is great. It's freezing here in England. It's freezing throughout most of the northern hemisphere. We're not seeing a whole load of sun. We're not getting a whole load of sun exposure. You've got to supplement with some vitamin D. Again, have this on hand. And we are going high dose here. Look, 40,000 IUs. You do have to be careful. Take it with your vitamin K2 as well. But taking this for a few days whilst you're under the weather, 40,000 IUs is not going to do you any harm. It's only if you're taking those kind of doses for weeks, months on end that you have to be careful. So vitamin D, max out on that as much as possible, anywhere up to 40,000 IUs. Constant meals throughout the day, drink your goat's milk, and yeah, just eat. Get in a caloric surplus. You need to be in a caloric surplus. Your body needs to have a surplus of resources to be able to fight this. For God's sake, do not keep yourself in a deficit. Obviously, sometimes when you're ill, your appetite completely goes. And that's usually when you're throwing up, when you've got diarrhea. It's not when you have a cold, when you have a flu. You need the old saying, starve a fever, feed a cold. There is a lot of truth to that. When you've got a cold, when you've got the flu, just eat as much as you can. Give your body all the energy and resources it needs to fight it. And then ongoing protocols. So once you're past the first day, couple of days, however long you're feeling really down with the illness for, you then want to start looking at it from a recovery perspective. So you still want to be nutrient maxing, emphasizing your vitamin C and zinc, Here's a few of the things you want to consider, though, for however long you still feel a bit under the weather and as though you're recovering. And it's important to know, even when you've no longer got any symptoms, it's going to take your body a week to 2 weeks to get over a standard cold. So an important thing to note here is, obviously you'll be dialing back your training intensity, I hope, when you're really down with the illness. But even after that, give yourself a few days to work back up to 100% training intensity. Volume's less important. It's really that it's the intensity of the exercise you're doing that's going to have a big impact on you if you have caught a cold, if you have been down for a couple of days with it. So dial back your training intensity, dial it up again gradually, so you can really gauge where you're at and how hard you can push, and just to give your body some more time to properly recover. Like I said, the vitamin D, 40,000 IUs, I would do that for a few days. You can do that for up to 2 weeks, and you're not going to have to worry about ODing on vitamin D. And again, here now, this is the recovery phase. This is where we want the parasympathetic activation. This is where we want to continue to do the Epsom salt baths, the sauna, and this time it's not really about creating that artificial fever response that was important in the first instance. Now it's about activating that parasympathetic state. Do it before bed. Your body likes to dump a load of heat. It starts to cool down, which is really good for an optimal night's sleep. And that leads me on to this point here, sleep. You need to make sure you're getting enough rest. There's no point dialing back your training intensity and then sleeping less. Like, your recovery workload balance is going to stay relatively the same. You need to make sure you're increasing just the time you're resting. And the easiest way to do that is just to make sure you're getting a bit extra sleep than you usually would. Another thing here, aspirin. So obviously, look, we still have to work. It can be really hard to work when your nose is stuffy, your head's pounding. Everyone reaches for your classic Panadol, ibuprofen, paracetamols, whatever your painkiller of choice is. Please, for God's sake, just invest in some acetylsilic acid, some pure aspirin powder. It works completely differently to all of the rest of them. It works with your body to work through the inflammation rather than just blunting the inflammatory response. It helps your body actually combat the illness you're faced with and work through it. I was taking high dose aspirin. I wouldn't just recommend taking the doses I was doing sometimes up to 1 gram of aspirin in the morning and another gram at night before I went to bed. It helps heat up your body because it's pro-metabolic. So it's good in that sense for, again, just making sure your body is firing the way that it needs to be warm enough to kill this virus, kill the illness, and keep operating on the level it needs to have the energy it needs to get through this. But yeah, aspirin's good for so many reasons. I would really recommend investing in a pure acetylsalicylic acid powder, which is just the full chemical name for aspirin, because, yeah, you don't want to be loading up on artificial painkillers like ibuprofen and paracetamol. You want something that actually works with your body to help you through it, and that's exactly what this baby does here. So that is the full protocol. Hope you found this useful. I mean, most of us are going to have to use this protocol at least once throughout the winter. So yeah, if you have any questions, drop a comment below. I hope you're able to avoid this. I certainly hope you don't get it over the Christmas period. Nobody wants to be down with an illness, especially at Christmas. So yeah, there it is. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. And of course, I keep emphasizing at this point, we are very close now to the start of 2026. By all means, enjoy your Christmas period, but you should already be planning what your goals are for your business, but more importantly, for yourself, next year. And you may want to consider hiring a coach to help with your health and fitness goals. If that's something you are, I can certainly help. Drop me a DM on Instagram and we can discuss what that might look like for you. So yeah, have a great one, guys, and I'll see you next week.